उधर कैनेडा N.D.P आगू जगमीत सिंह वालों पार्लीमेंट हिल ते न्यूज़ कॉन्फ्रेंस की गई जिथे उन्होंने उस तरहीज़ा की रूपरेखा दसी जो आने वाले 7 अप्रैल के फैडरल बजट च प्रतिबिंबता देखना चाहते हैं। इन्हां विच डेंटल केयर प्रोग्राम के पहले कदम ते हाउसिंग संकट नाल जूझ रहे कैनेडियंस लई मदद शामिल है।
With the budget approaching, there's a number of things that we want to see in the budget. And I want to take a moment to outline some of those priorities that we want to see. We use our power in this minority government to deliver help for people, for Canadians who need help now. And so in this budget, we want to see some of that help realized. In our agreement, we had clear checkpoints and deadlines for some of the key elements of help to be delivered. And so in this budget, we want to see first steps on the dental care program. There's so many Canadians that cannot get their teeth fixed. And we want to see first steps and funding for those first steps to start with kids under 12 to get the help they need to be able to look after their teeth. We also want to see help for Canadians that are struggling with the housing crisis. There are so many Canadians that can't afford to ever own a home, who are struggling with their rent, who are hurting now as the cost of living goes up, particularly when it comes to housing. So we want to see help for Canadians now in this budget who are dealing with the housing crisis. Thirdly, another really key element that we fought for and that we want to see happen is steps to make sure that those that have benefited off this pandemic, those at the very top, that some of those start paying their fair share, starting with big banks. That's an important initiative. In addition, we want to see action on fighting the climate crisis. And what we've been calling for and what we fought for in the agreement is to make sure that we end fossil fuel subsidies. And that's something we want to see movement on. We're concerned, though, that the Liberal government's approach right now is to increase subsidies effectively with the carbon capture tax credits. We're also concerned that that carbon capture technology is not something that is clearly effective. There's been a lot of debate around whether it actually can work in reducing emissions or capturing emissions. So these are areas that we're concerned about. We know that we've got to tackle the climate crisis. And one of the concrete things we can do is end those fossil fuel subsidies to reinvest that into renewable energy and invest in the energy that will allow us to reduce emissions, create good jobs, support workers, and be able to protect our planet. So I've said that the 2% is arbitrary, and I don't support that number. I do recognize that our forces are asked to do work. They're sent to do work, and they don't have the appropriate equipment and resources to do that work. And so I think that an investment in our armed forces is necessary to ensure that they have safe equipment, the appropriate resources to do what we ask of them. And they've done a lot of work for us in this past couple of years, supporting us domestically. The Canadians relied on armed forces to step up and help out in the crisis of long-term care. They supported in vaccination efforts. So it's vital to recognize their importance domestically. So we absolutely need to increase supports. We also acknowledge that the world is less safe now, and people want to see us do more to deal with that. And so that's going to require additional investments, and we understand that and think that's appropriate.